Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. As you come in, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Today, we are talking about $2 million retirement, what it looks like to be living a $2 million retirement. So let us know in the comments, do you think $2 million is a lot for retirement? Do you think it's not a lot for retirement? Let us know. What's your idea of how much you want to have in retirement, or is there a certain amount? So there's an article in the Wall Street Journal. Here's what a $2 million retirement looks like in America. So we're going to share with you some real life experiences, some real life retirees who are in retirement now, and they've got roughly somewhere between $1 and $2 million. And what does that actually look like? You know, a lot of people think about retirement, but they don't necessarily think about the amount of money that they need or want. And then, like, what the heck do you do with that money? And what the heck do you do with your time?
How much do you think if you had $2 million in a retirement account, how much do you think you would take out every year? How much do you think that would turn into? So drop in the comments and let me know your thoughts. What do you think it generates? How much income do you think it's going to create? All that. I want to know some people's thoughts on that.
And if you know anyone who may want to join in on this conversation, who may have some thoughts about retirement, some concerns about retirement, tag them, share this out, like, comment, put your questions. And we're going to go through, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a couple of these people actually living in retirement. And then Martin's going to tell you what are some things that they could do to ensure that their retirement lasts and as long as they do, and also to continue being able to live the lifestyle that they want, and also some risks that they could be thinking about or protecting themselves about. And put yourself in their shoes. Think about, even no matter what you think about retirement, a lot of people are like, I'm never going to retire. I don't like the word retire. And you have to do something in your retirement years. So some people still continue to work or volunteer. So whatever that is, but there's going to come a time when you either can't physically work anymore, or you decide you don't want to continue working in your job or your business, whatever it is.
Or sometimes it's mandatory. They feel like you're getting older, you're moving,
you age out.
So they're like, hey, let's get rid of that older guy and let's bring some younger people in
here. So they can pay less.
So sometimes they do that, and so just be aware that it's not always your choice whether you're going to stay working till a certain age or not, and it happens to people a lot. Whenever the economy shrinks, that tends to happen.
You know, that just reminded me, that's one thing when I lived in Las Vegas at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. I had friends who were casino hosts and nightclub hosts, and they had been there for many, many years. So they had a lot of experience. They had seniority. They were getting paid higher amounts than some of the newer people. So they were aging out, phasing out, and aging out at like 30, you know, aging out these senior hosts and bringing in these new young blood that they
could, 18, 19-year-old girls.
that they could pay less. Well, they hired mostly guys for the host positions. Yeah. But anyways, it made me think of that. Instead of like just firing people, it's like they would like relocate them, or they would, lay them off. But then it wasn't like they were getting rid of that position. They would put somebody else in there that they could pay less. So, okay, this article, Wall Street Journal, here's what $2 million retirement looks like. And so you may hear some kind of like general terms when it comes to retirement. Oh, you need $1 million. You need $2 million. Oh, you could take this much percentage from your $1 million or $2 million. Okay, but what does that all really mean? Like, why do you need this lump sum of money? Well, we're going to talk about it, because just like you have cash flow and you need to live off of cash flow now, well, that why people want a lump sum is because to generate enough cash flow, because you're not like actively working now. So here's one person, John Fitzgerald, and he was a police lieutenant for 33 years. So his retirement account was worth 1.7 million when he retired. And due to the stock market drop, it's now gone from 1.7 million to 1.3 million. And he's 61 years old. So think about that. Now he's got some other stuff. He's got a monthly pension. He's got some other money saved. But it's very important when you're looking at where
There's
you're.
this guy over here, right?
Yeah, and he looks older than 61 to me. I mean, but a police lieutenant, that'll probably add some extra years onto you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think about not just the lump sum, but how much is that going to generate and how long does it have to last? He is 61 years old. That's a long time, potential living years that his money has to last. A lot of people, the average age of retirement is 65. Some people are not retiring until 70, even longer. So he is, and then his wife has about 400,000 for saved for retirement. They have a son that they're paying for college, and then they have about $12,000 in monthly expenses. And they also, it may seem like, oh yeah, they've got almost $2 million here. But they're like, their grocery bill has doubled, right? The cost of everything is doubled. So when they had it all figured out, maybe they had it figured out, maybe they're figuring it out as they go, and the cost of things change, and then the stock market goes down. And if your money is in the stock market, guess what? You may have less money to live on and paying more for everything else.
Yeah.
So what are some things that they could be doing or thinking about that could put them in a stronger financial position in retirement?
So first of all, your retirement account, just think of your retirement account as a bucket of money, right? So it's just this bucket of money in which you have to pull out each year, right? From
Fill
your
up
assets.
my bucket.
So you got to pull out each year, right, to live on. And every time you pull money out, this account is dwindling. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So what you're racing against is making sure you maintain a certain standard of living over the period of time you need while you're still living, so that you're not 90 years old and you don't have any money left, which was what happened to my grandmother. And then we had to end up having to take care of my grandmother. She's in her 90s, and we had to pay for everything for her, which we were happy to, and I'm glad we're in a position to be able to do that for her. But her grandchildren had to be able to do that for her. So you don't want that to happen to you, because your grandkids may not be able to. And so what this guy can do, what John here can do, is first thing is, his most secure part of his retirement is his pension, not his 401k. It's his pension plan, because his pension plan is actually paying him
$6,900 a month.
$6,900 after taxes, which means that pension is paying about $9,000 a month gross income. So he's got a massive guaranteed income stream from that pension. If you have a 401k, now his 401k is about, he's probably got something called a 403b. It works just like a 401k. People know the 401k more, so I'm just referring to it as that. But public service employees, like police officers, generally get a 403b. But his retirement account, 401k, 403b, has 1.3 million. There's a rule called the 4% rule. And that rule says, no matter how much money you have in retirement, don't take out more than 4% of that per year to live on. Otherwise, you'd run out of money before you passed away. So you'd be a 92-year-old person or 89-year-old person, and you have zero money left. So in John's case, on his 1.3 million, if he was taking out 4%, that's $52,000 a year. John's annual spending is $144,000 a year, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
I left that part out.
$144,000 a year. So that means without his pension, John would be short. Doesn't matter that he's got 1.3 million. It sounds a lot more than it actually is, because it's not about the full amount that you have. That's one piece of it. It's about how much cash flow. You're not going to spend a 1.3 million in 1 year anyway. How much cash flow is it going to generate? In this case, that 1.3 million will only generate $52,000 a year. That would be a big drop, a big gap. His pension is what's making sure John can maintain a lifestyle that he has. So you can actually take what he should probably consider doing is taking some of his money, since he already knows that he's going to get a guarantee from his pension. He should take some of that 1.3 million and reposition it. You can create your own personal pension plan. So you can take that 1.3 million and guarantee that it will last the rest of his life with a certain amount of income stream. So there's financial vehicles that can do that. We do that all the time. It allows us to protect certain levels of risk. Number one, stock market risk. So he's down. So for example, if the stock market ends up, which is likely will end up negative this year. So if it loses 10%, right, just 10%, his 1.3 million would have lost $130,000 a year. He can't afford that in retirement. He's only 61 years old. His money's got to last. We don't know how long he's going to live. So his money's got to last that long. So number one, he's got to minimize his stock market risk. So there are financial vehicles that you can use where he can eliminate stock market risk and get guarantees on for an income stream. So he can do that with a portion of that money. He doesn't have to put all of it in there, but he should put a portion of it in there. So eliminate stock market risk. Second thing is he can look at reducing what's called longevity risk. Longevity means how long something is. Longevity risk is if I live a really, really long time, I could run out of money. So how am I going to make sure I don't run out of money? Well, his pension is going to pay him for the rest of his life. So he needs to convert some of that money into his own personal pension plan that will pay him for the rest of his life. Then he'll have his own pension that he creates, and he have his pension from the police department, and he'll have two sources of income that will last the rest of his life. So he can predict. So he can handle stock market risk, longevity risk. Those two things right there.
He also plans to move to Florida to save on taxes.
Yeah, John's probably going to sell his house at a profit, move to Florida, save on income tax. So that means his income is going to last a little bit longer. And you know, he by selling his house at a profit, he can probably go he might buy a condo on the beach, you know, in Florida.
Yeah.
Now he's giving himself more money, you know, for his retirement. So that's one of the main things about that.
Can you suggest money-making ideas? I'll give you one tip. The best money-making idea is to start with what you're already making money with and strengthen it. Look for other ways that you can increase that income or money that you're already making. And then there's we'll cover that on another show, another topic. Money-making ideas. Good question. Okay, so the next person is James Compton, looking like a very dapper man. He looks fancy.
Oh yeah, that's the brother.
Let's show James.
James is
he's got it going on,
right
man. His savings and investments is 1.5 million, annual spending 100,000, and he is in Chicago. The other guy was in Maryland.
James over there got the swag.
He don't mess around.
Got the swag.
So he is 84. Now he doesn't look 84.
Because that black don't crack.
He's got that going on for him. He's 84, only recently fully retired. Yeah, so he left his job.
Well, like he's 59.
Because he keeps working. It keeps him young, and he's got that skin that doesn't age. So, he left his job 15 years ago. And he kept himself busy serving on corporate and non-corporate boards, which actually replaced almost his full-time income. So he was able to make $150,000 a year, a portion of his full-time work salary. And then, so some of the things that he's done now you got to look at, so 84 years old compared to 61 years old. Okay, and the other guy had he had 2 million annual spending, 144,000. But he's 61. He's got a whole lot more years, for that money to last. So 84 years old, he's, statistically has less years that he's got to make that money last. So he is also still, though, looking at ways to spend less. Like he used to go out and eat a lot with clients and friends. He's going out less. He also donates less money. He'll donate about $8,000. Last year he gave $15,000 because also he's got money in the stock market. 70% is invested in stock mutual funds. And so he said he's concerned about market volatility and the general climate of uncertainty right now. I should probably take less risk, but I still sleep well at night. Well, he's also 84 years old, so he doesn't have, he doesn't have to make his money last quite as long. He's also looking to move. And one thing that is interesting is a lot of these retirees have started spending more time on health and fitness, working out, volunteering, staying busy. So when you think of retirement, it's not just like going and sitting in your rocking chair, drinking your sweet tea on the porch and watching the kids play out on the lawn. Like, these people are active, they're living lives, they're serving on boards, they're volunteering. Some of them are still even making money.
Yeah.
And so, and they're looking at ways to lower costs because the cost of everything is rising. And the key here is a lot of these people have their money in the stock market. It's one thing if you know about the stock market and you're actively managing your money and you're growing it, but it's another thing when you're living off of it, because any fluctuations, any volatility, that's going to affect your lifestyle and how long your money is going to last.
Yeah, he could probably, in this case, he could probably reposition about $500,000. Pull that away
people
from,
need to know
market
Martin
risk.
Matthews.
He could put that into an annuity, and in 10 years, that $500,000 will turn into $1 million. He's already pulling out $100,000 a year, so that can last 15 years, even if his money doesn't grow at all. So he could reposition $500,000 of that into something called an annuity that would generate a lifetime income stream, and he can be spending down that $1 million he still got available. And if he does that, he's 84. Let's say he does that till 94. At 94, he can turn on the annuity and generate income from that. Let's say if he passed away before he ever used that annuity, it will pay a death benefit to his beneficiaries. So there's a lot of different things he could do. He says he's concerned about market risk. So that would be something that can help him reduce his market risk.
But he's not concerned enough to do anything about it currently.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you why. Because there's why a lot of retirees are still more invested in the market, because the last 8 years, or so, the market did really well. The last 8 years. So what's happening is now this year is when they're kind of like they're analyzing it, because the market's been kind of down a little bit, but it hasn't seen like a significant drop. So people are like, okay, the last 8 years I've made money. Let me keep looking at it. But if it has like a 20% drop,
folks.
Well, if it has a 20% drop, he's got 1.5 million. If it has a 20% drop, he'll lose $300,000. Now he'll be scared shitless, because he'll be like, oh man, now I really got to make this money last. So you want to be proactive with your assets before there's a big negative drop market wise. So you have there's some uncertainty in the market. We're looking at you have somewhat of an election year this year. You have midterms, and then 2 years that you have a presidential election, and then other senators and governors and all that kind of stuff. So you want to be looking at that. Yeah. You want to be looking at those kinds of things and how you're allocated. But for him, it just depends on his risk tolerance. I think at 70% in stock-based mutual funds might be a little bit too aggressive. He might need to reposition some of it. And those are just without knowing enough about his financial position, his risk tolerance. That's just kind of some general thoughts on there. But that's how he should probably be thinking about it: securing more of his income and making sure he can have that money keep growing, protecting it from losses. If he has a significant drop, 30% drop, dude, he's screwed. If he has 30% drop, that is $450,000 loss. $450,000 loss if he has a 30% drop in his portfolio. In 2008, people suffered 40% drops. So some of them even higher than that. So you got to make sure you're protecting your retirement account against losses.
So Miss Judy Hall, savings and investments, 1.8 million, annual spending, 110,000.
Is this Juicy Judy?
Who is Juicy Judy? I don't know about
Juicy Judy from around the way. Or is this Miss Judy?
This is Miss Judy. Okay, this is Miss Judy, and she retired in 2005 at 58. What's with these young retirees? She had about 2 million and no clue how she was going to fill her days. What's funny is a lot of people I find they retire, then they have no idea what to do with their time and they end up going back to work.
Yeah, like, you're like, okay, this is
Or
boring.
volunteer if they're not concerned about money, if they have enough money. So she actually went on a road trip and she visited all her friends around the country that were retired to see what are they doing in retirement. So she decided to increase her volunteer work, and she even
That's
like
great.
filled in for an employee that was out, out on leave, and did a lot of volunteer work.
She's gonna do some Airbnb. She got a property, right? She got a property. She got a beach house.
And here's the thing. This is one of the things that I took away from what these people in retirement are doing and living is we don't have to wait until we're not working anymore to like find out what we're passionate about and be able to help and make a difference. She said her mantra is to wake up in the morning and make a difference in someone's life. And you could do that now. You can go wherever you're working. You can make a difference in people's lives. You can start getting in touch with the things that you're passionate about and enjoy. And, it doesn't have to be waiting until you have time freedom, but you do want to start thinking about these things so that you have not only time freedom when you retire, but financial freedom too, because it will suck to not be working and to not have money, because a lot of people, they think, they are waiting for retirement to live the life that they want. And then they're stressed. They're struggling because they can't retire. And so if you're putting your life on hold and putting the things that, that are important to you on hold until retirement, you don't have to do that. You can start doing some of that stuff now.
CG Skinner, thanks for following on Instagram.
So she, had to figure out what her next act was. So while she was working for 37 years, she saved 6% a year in her 401k. She received a 6% company match. And so at retirement, she had $1 million, and she swapped her pension for a lump sum that added another $1 million to the balance. So pensions, there's not really that many pensions out there anymore. A lot of private companies don't really do them. In the government, public service, they still have some pensions available. And basically it is, if you're familiar with an annuity, that's basically what it is. You have a lump sum, and then where the money is, the company pays you for the rest of your life a designated amount. So instead of doing that, she swapped it for a lump sum. Like if somebody wins the lottery, they have the option to either have payments for a certain period of time or to have a lump sum. Usually people pick the lump sum. So she added the lump sum, and then she added to her $1 million. Then she had $2 million. But she is also looking at how to decrease her spending. She left New York. And let's see, did she go to Florida too?
Yeah,
I think
in Florida.
Yeah, she's in Florida too. Man, everyone's going to Florida. And so she went from spending she was spending $200,000 a year to $110,000 when she moved to Florida. And she's getting $25,000 in Social Security, and she donates about $30,000. So I'm telling you what, man, taxes is one of the biggest enemies of your wealth. There's three: taxes, inflation, and market risk. We're experiencing inflation right now, and taxes always affect everyone. But being able to move somewhere from like New York to Florida, there's no state income tax there. And so that is significant. When your money is in the market in a retirement account, it is not tax-free unless you have like a Roth, or unless you got it in life insurance. That is tax-free. Let me tell you that. But anyways, it can affect the amount of money that you have and the amount of money that you get to spend.
Yeah.
Your taxes. So what are some things that she can think about or be doing? Oh, there's some.
So we'll probably end with that with her. So the things that she really ought to be thinking about, she's made some smart moves. She's been thinking about it. She's like, how do I reduce my expenses and still keep my lifestyle the same? Which she went from New York, which is a very expensive state to live in.
She had a 1-bedroom there.
Yeah, and she went down. She bought a $450,000 house in Florida. She probably made a profit went down to
She got
Florida.
a beach house.
She went out in Florida. She bought a place in Naples. So she probably will be good for
Maybe that's the other
she reduced her income. She reduced her withdrawal. She needed $200,000 to live the same life in New York as it takes $110,000 to live in Florida. So because also New York has state income tax, so she's not
That's
having to pay.
$90,000 more dollars.
Yeah, she's not having to
that
pay
she
income
has.
tax on there. She's got her Social Security checks that she gets, and she got $2 million. $2 million.
Get it, girl.
Yeah, between Social Security, so $2 million will easily generate her $80,000 a year using the 4% rule, plus her $25,000 Social Security. That is $105,000. So that is she probably will not run out of money.
She's sitting on her rocking chair with the
Yeah.
sign that says Camp Cocktail.
Yeah, she's probably not going to run out of money. And so she'll spend now. If she's taking 4%, she most likely will not run out of money. So she's in a very good position. Now, of course, I realize not everybody is in that position. Not everybody has $1 million, $2 million, $3 million to retire on. So it's very, very important that you understand how you're going to handle retirement. Is really about cash flow. So we tell people it's about cash flow. Miss Judy over there, Miss Juicy Judy, gray hair Judy. It's not about Silver Fox Judy. It's not about the 2 million she had. It's about the cash flow it's generating. So you got to always look at the cash flow. Now, because a lot of people reach out to us,
some cash,
and they say I'm close to retirement. She likes the cash flow. Who doesn't, by the way? But when you're getting to retirement, or you're close to it, or you're thinking I want to retire at a certain age, your most important target is your cash flow target. How are you going to create cash flow? And so if you have an existing retirement account, we can help you look at your plan. Where is it? Is it properly allocated? What's the risk level on it? And then how do you turn that into consistent cash flow for the rest of your life? Want to tell them about that?
Yeah, so if you would like a review on your retirement account, and you have at least $50,000 in the account, we would be happy to do a free review. And we can let you know kind of where you're at. Sometimes people don't even really know how to read the statements. And we can help you with what options could really protect, grow, and ensure that you have what you need for retirement, and that your money lasts, and that it's protected from loss. So if you would like a free retirement review and you have at least $50,000 in your retirement account, could be a 401k, IRA, Roth, 403b, TSP, any kind of retirement account, could be like a stock account even. Then you can go to sixbuildingblocks.com/retirement, sixbuildingblocks.com/retirement, and we'll be happy to give you a review and some recommendations. Somebody is mad about that.
Yeah. Maybe they're not at the 2 million and they're like,
Don't
I
be
need to
mad.
be at the 2 million. So look, go over there, request that. We'll be happy to look at your retirement account, see where you're at, help you with some suggestions and ideas and some things that make it optimized so that you don't run out of money in retirement. Last thing you want to do is run out of money in retirement, have to depend on your kids and grandkids, because they got their own retirement, their own stuff they got to deal with. So you want to make sure.
Or the government.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make
That
sure
Social
you're
Security
dealing
ain't
with that.
gonna last.
No. So it's projected to run out of money already, and it's a very expensive plan, and the government doesn't have a game plan for how they're going to fix it. So, and they're printing more and more money, which causes inflation, and then it's going to.
And they're also trying to pay out more.
So it's pretty crazy because our government doesn't really have a game plan. They're just kind of making this crap up as they go. So anyway, well, thanks for tuning in. You can go to sixbuildingblocks.com/retirement and request a review there. And we'll catch you guys next time. We're here Monday through